Ball is presented by Land Rover, above and beyond. And brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. And by Allegiant Airlines, together we fly. 81 degrees and not a cloud in the sky here in Berkeley. And we are just about ready for Washington State and Cal, the Cal Golden Bears onto the field. Cal won the opening toss and elected to defer, and so Justin Wilcox and his team will start on defense. Disappointed but not discouraged is what Justin Wilcox told us the feel for his team is. They had the heartbreaking loss last week in overtime on a fumble at Washington. He said awful feeling in the locker room, awful feeling on the plane, awful feeling watching tape on Sunday, and then back to work on Monday. It's been a similar week of bouncing back for Nick Rolovich as the head coach for the first time this close to home. He's from just across the bay in Marin, where he played as a high school player, played a city college career at San Francisco before playing quarterback in Hawaii, and so this is a homecoming for him. A lot of tickets out to hit friends and family for Nick Rolovich, and similarly they had a heartbreaking loss last week, and he told us back to practice on Monday, you look around, you say, okay, who's going to be the first to defect? Nobody did. Team leaders took over, and both teams feel like, despite the struggles, still looking for their first league win, in a good space right now after a week of practice.
Yeah, and it's impressive, both teams. The resiliency of the players, which speaks to the coaching staffs. Both teams have started off with 1-3 start, clearly and obviously not the way they wanted to start, but like you said earlier, discouraged, but not, or disappointed but not discouraged.
Yeah.
And these teams have had good weeks of practice. They're coming into this game looking to finally turn the tide and gain momentum for the rest of this Pac-12 season.
And somebody will. Travell Harris, he is dangerous back there, wearing number 1 for Washington State. Dario Longetto will kick it away for Cal. A beautiful Saturday afternoon. This is what you draw up for college football in the beginning of October, and Washington State will start with the football after the touchback. 4 different quarterbacks have played this year. Last week's starter, Jarrett Garantano, not available. Back from injury, though. Hurt 2 weeks ago against USC wearing a knee brace is Jaden DeLaura, the sophomore.
I think Jaden DeLaura gives this offense the best chance for success in this team, the best chance to win. His confident personality really shows up on the field, and coaches believe that that confidence rubs off on the rest of the guys.
What did Justin Wilcox say this week? You can see the personality that he has in the way he plays. And can they get this offense going? It's been struggling. Deion McIntosh is the back, and DeLaura throws complete to Ali. Donovan Ali on first down. Let's take a look at, Shane, your difference makers when Washington State has the football.
Yeah, when Washington State has the football, the difference makers on the field for me are Travell Harris for Washington State. He is a big play machine, set the school record in kickoff return yards, and Lou Hearns, a young freshman cornerback for the Bears. And the impressive thing about Lou Hearns is he's kind of been thrown into the fire. A lot has been put on his plate, especially for a true freshman, but the stage is not too big for him.
Yeah, just his third start from just down the road, De La Salle High School. And so here's an early 3rd and 1. This is a good test. Washington State worst in the Pac-12 on third downs. 47% conversion rate so far this year. We've not seen Max Borghi yet, although he did go through warm-ups. Injured last week against Utah, expected to be available today. Here's the little flip to Travell Harris, getting the block from McIntosh, and Washington State converts.
Yeah, and that's going to be, you know, a big point of emphasis for this Washington State offense is how can we get the ball to number 1, Travell Harris, and number 8, Calvin Jackson. Those are the 2 slot receivers, the speed guys, the guys they try and get the ball in space, because both players are hard to bring down when they have room to move.
Harris maybe a little shaken up there as we get McIntosh out of the pistol beside DeLaura here on first down. Some pressure coming from Cal, backs it off, and there is Joey Hobart picking up 11 or 12 yards. Ball ripped, and did it come out? No, the official
ruling on the
says
field
that
as the
was
runner
down.
was down after reaching the line to gain.
Lumagia Hearns and Josh Drayton trying to give Washington State a taste of its own medicine.
Yeah, you see Washington State is already back up on the line of scrimmage, but Cal was susceptible to a short pass when bringing the pressure from the right-hand side of the Cougs offense, and it left them weak on the left.
Here's McIntosh through a big hole. Cam Good gets an arm on him, and he breaks through past Daniel Scott and deep into the secondary for a big pickup and a first down.
And that's what Deion McIntosh is going to give you. He is a strong, physical runner. Coaches called him a grinder. He plays physical, and he's not afraid of contact, breaking multiple tackles there. And Cal's got to be better at tackling the football on the defensive side of the ball. It's a problem that they've been dealing with now up until this week.
20-yard pickup, and now Max Borghi appears in the game for the first time. Borghi with a heavily wrapped left arm takes the handoff from Delora, trying to stretch it out to the sideline, and he gets a couple yards, but Josh Drayton comes flying down from the secondary for the stop.
Josh Drayton came downhill and put it on Max Borghi there on the sideline. And here's the injury last week to Max Borghi. They classified it, I believe, as an upper body injury, but as you see, as he's completing the stiff arm, his hand and his wrist kind of get caught up underneath there. It's not fun. That's not fun.
You've been there.
Yeah, multiple times, unfortunately. Had surgery on my left wrist because of that.
Good to see him back then, given how bad maybe it could have been. Second down and long here for Delora. Plenty of time across the middle. There's Dejan Stribling, the freshman who had a big week last week against Utah. He's second among Pac-12 freshmen in catches behind just Taj Davis of UW.
Yeah, and this is going to be, something that we talk about, and something to look at is how much time does Delora have back there to decipher the defenses and get the ball out. Cal has got to push the pocket. They didn't do it last week in the first half against UW, but they did it in the second half, and it was a completely different ball game for this defense. When they can get pressure on the quarterback and make Delora feel uncomfortable, it gives their defense a much bigger advantage.
Into the flat, that's complete. Calvin Jackson Jr. for the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown, Washington State. What a drive from the Cougs.
The quick tempo offense of Washington State. Cal's not able to get aligned. Couple of guys playing man. I think that was Elijah Hicks who got caught up in the wash, wasn't able to get outside to Jackson. And that's an easy pitch and catch. That first drive from Washington State.
The previous ruling of a touchdown is under review.
We'll take a look, as all scoring plays are. The question, of course, will be, did he step out of bounds? Did his knee come down before he crossed the goal line? But sorry, finish that thought on Washington State.
Yeah, I mean, they made that look about as easy as it can. I mean, I think they saw third down one time, and it was 3rd and 1. Other than that, they didn't have a negative play. Cal really didn't disrupt them. It looked like that left foot might have gone out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
Could have been the left foot. The other question, did his right knee come down inbounds? Did his left knee come down out of bounds before he broke the plane?
Let's take a look, but just
Jerry
nobody
Meyerhoff, our
around him.
replay official. So there's left foot. There's the first question. We'll have to make a decision there. And then, you saw both knees come down. Hard to tell from that angle. I think he broke the plane before the knees.
I think he broke the plane.
But did he step out?
That's what it's going to come down to. We obviously aren't able to see the proper angle to really give us a definitive answer. But that's what it's going to take, is definitive answers, because as we know from games that we've called, what you call on the field holds vast majority over the decision made here.
Francisco VR, our referee today, going over with Jerry Meyerhoff, the replay official, and the crew back in San Francisco at the replay command center. Part of the collaborative replay the Pac-12 has had now for a few years. This is why I've always thought offensive player change should wear white shoes just for these situations.
Well, the thing is, I feel like white shoes make you look like you're running faster.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to wear white shoes. It just looks better on film,
The result of the play was a touchdown. And
After reviewing the play, ruling of a touchdown stands.
Stands. Okay, so not confirmed. As you said, stands.
Yeah.
Call touchdown on the field. Stick with it. And for Washington State, the strong drive capped with Calvin Jackson's 4th touchdown. Remember, this is a team that jumped out to a 14-0 lead against USC before losing at home.
Yeah.
And they looked like they had a rhythm here.
They were up last week against Utah. I felt that Washington State as a team really had control of the Utah game until late.
Dean Janikowski makes the extra point. So Washington State takes the ball, marches down the field, a couple of third down conversions, and in 3 minutes and 39 seconds, a 7-0 lead. It's Calvin Jackson's junior touchdown a moment ago, Shane.
Yeah, this is probably one of the easiest touchdowns he's had of his career. Tight bunch formation. Cal is in man, so there has to be communication between Hearns and Hicks. The communication is not there. Nobody picks up Jackson on the outside, and he's too good of a player to have that much space in the red zone.
We know it's Jackson and it's Harris who entered with 44 catches between the two of them, the two slot receivers for Washington State, and they fed him. And Jaden Delores' return results in a definitive drive, 4 first downs on that drive for the Cougs. So now they will kick away, and Cal will have the first shot at it. And we'll get to see if this Cal offense, which is the most explosive it's been of the Wilcox era, almost 30 points a game, second in the league, almost 450 yards this year under Chase Garbers, can match the score.
Yeah, and talking with Bill Musgrave, he said something that was pretty interesting. He was happy with the way that the offense is going, but he's got to find ways, or he's trying to find ways for this offense to have more possessions. Like last week against UW, they only had 3 possessions in the first half, and you know, any offense is going to have trouble putting up massive amounts of points if you're not getting the ball enough. The good thing is that with the few possessions that Cal had, they were able to score touchdowns and get points.
And they outgained Washington by 131 yards last week in that overtime loss. Damian Moore's the running back here for the first Cal snap of the day, and he'll take the handoff and rumble straight ahead, churning forward for a pickup of 8 yards. Ball out. It'll stay with Cal. Let's take a look at the difference makers when Cal has the ball.
Got Jeremiah Hunter, came onto the scene against Sacramento State with some big catches and has just continued to make his imprint on each and every game. He's an instinctual route runner, and Jahad Woods, leader of this defense, the most veteran guy on this defense. He's mature, experienced, and Coach Jake Dickert said he's the fastest linebacker he's ever coached.
As you can see, the ball was ruled out. Cal recovered, and so instead of an 8-yard pickup, it's about 5, and now it'll be Christopher Brooks, who we did not see until late in the game last week. And Cal told us they want to get some other backs involved, not put the whole thing on Damian Moore's shoulders.
Well, yeah, but it's going to be hard if Washington State is causing turnovers and fumbles. You can't cough the ball up against this team. You know, coming in, they've created 10 turnovers in just 4 games, and that doesn't even account for all the balls that were out. Last week, like I said, Utah had coughed the ball up 7 times. When you come into a game like that, it's 2 hands on the ball all the way till you hit the ground.
So third down here for this Cal offense. They've been good on third down this year. There's Brooks out of the backfield. Garbers dangerous with his legs. Pressure coming. He's going to pull it down. And did he get there so close? It looks like he did. Just tripped up by a shoelace. Brennan Jackson. He's marked short.
They're moving the
Now
chains.
The clock says
Yeah, they're going to have
third down. So there's a lot going on down there.
It's interesting where
The previous play of a first down is being reviewed.
Okay, so the official ruling on the field is first down. Cal was racing to the line of scrimmage like they knew it was a first down.
Yeah, the line judge had him for a first down, but then I think when the umpire set the ball down, it looked like it was behind the line. But let's see where the knee goes down. Seems a little.
He's got to
seems
get
a little short to me, honestly.
I'm with you. I mean, you can see the first down marker in the background there. He's got to get to the 35. And Brennan Jackson.
Great effort by Brennan Jackson to be able to retrace his steps, get a hand and trip up Chase Garbers.
Well, this was one of the things that Jake Dickert told us. Take another look here. Where's the ball when his knee goes down? And there it is. He's going to be about a half-yard shy.
You know what's interesting is I know Garbers wasn't expecting to get tripped up, but I'm curious if he wasn't playing this Washington State team and ball security wasn't an emphasis all week in practice. If he would have maybe extended the ball just a little bit, just to ensure that he would have gotten the first down, but he's got to take care of the football first. Pick your feet up.
After reviewing the play, the ruling has changed. The runner was short by a half a yard. It'll be 4th down, the 34.5-yard line.
Good eye by Jerry Meyerhoff, the replay official. And Cal's offense is staying on the field here. How about this decision by Justin Wilcox?
Yeah, it's 4th and about half a yard, and you know, if Cal has run the ball primarily well throughout this season, and if you don't want to go get half a yard at home, go get it.
Garbers or a handoff?
Handoff.
Brooks is the deep man if they snap the football. Garbers is going to keep it. They move forward, and he got it.
And that
of course you wanted to give it to the running back.
Once a running back, always a running back. But that was the right call. I believe both A gaps were open. That is what you do when you have a short yardage situation and no A gaps, nobody over the center.
Now this is Brooks running hard, holding on with both arms to the football, and he pushes forward for 9.5 yards. How about Justin Wilcox? Is he sending a message, or just you think playing the percentages?
Well, I think if you look at last week's tape and when the Cougars played the Utes out in Utah, Utah was able to run the ball, especially inside. The interior D line for the Cougars has been kind of the weaker spot of the defense. That's where they've been giving up big runs and big plays. And I think
Timeout for an injured player.
Timeout for an injured player. He was able to get off the field. But I think the success that Cal has had all year running the football, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and just continue to pound the ball, wear this defense down, control the game, control the clock, and that's going to lead to bigger plays later in this game.
Yeah, we had a lightning fast drive and score for Washington State, and now Cal is
doing what Cal does.
Methodically getting it out across the 40, and a 2nd down and 1 for Garbers. Lofts it, looking for Crawford, and he brought it in. What a catch by Keikoa Crawford down to the 11-yard line.
And Bill Musgrave and this offense are happy to have Crawford back and healthy, and this is why. This is a 50-50 ball. This is good coverage, a good route, a good ball by Chase Garbers, putting it up in the air and giving his receiver a chance to come down with it.
And Cal hurrying up. Brooks churning, moving, and into the end zone. A big man touchdown. That was all muscle from Christopher Brooks. His first touchdown of the year.
Individual effort. Christopher Brooks, who's been here for a while, the senior. It's homecoming week. It was not perfect. It wasn't, but he was able to slip outside, get some momentum, run through 2, maybe 3 Cougar defenders, and fall in the end zone. Very physical run there by Christopher Brooks.
Hey, Sam, give me the ball early this week and keep giving it to me after he didn't touch the ball until overtime last week against Washington. Longhetto on for the point after. Cal's had some issues with this, and that was a bad snap, fallen on by the holder, Jamison Sheehan. They had a mishandled snap last week.
The try is unsuccessful.
From Slater. Zellers
Timeout
was
on the
low.
field.
Zellers was so good for most of his career, but now special teams, particularly in the kick game, has come under a bright light for Cal. That's the 3rd mistake in that portion of play so far this season for them. But Cal scores the touchdown and is within 1, 7-6 in the first. After the failed extra point attempt, Cal trails 7-6, but Christopher Brooks with an 11-yard touchdown, looking fresh after last week's limited appearance for him.
Said he's looking fresh. It must be the number, huh?
You think? The 3-4?
Hey, the 34 plays.
See, it's better to have other people wear it than to have it retired. Maybe not. The number of plays. I like that. So here's Dario Longetto, who did not get a chance to even kick the point after. He'll send this over the head of Travell Harris, each team with a snap apiece. Let's look back at the 44-yard connection between Garbers and Keikoa Crawford to set up a touchdown.
Yeah, this is really impressive. This is good on good. Isom versus Crawford. Safety shaded over to the far side of the field, and a 50-50 ball. Chase Garbers gives his receiver a chance. He goes up over Isom, secures the catch. And those are the big plays that Washington State's defense is trying to eliminate.
Travell Harris sprinting in motion here. Second possession for Washington State. And it's the second touch of the day for Max Borghi. And he gets 4 yards. Borghi, who played just about half the game last week, 6 touches before he was injured. Now Delora pumps, throws, Harris in traffic. So what is Nick Rolovich looking for out of his offense today, Shane?
So honestly, this is the first time where I've called a game where the offense has been called run and shoot. So I asked Rolo what exactly that means, and what they're looking for is 13 yards a catch at the end of the game, 5 yards per run, 150 yards from their backs. That's both rushing and screen yards, and at least 300 yards passing. That's the ideal game for a run and shoot offense here for Washington State.
They're behind the chains here now on 3rd down and 6. Delara steps up, eyes downfield, slings it out of the reach of Stribling. And so Washington State, after that great first drive, will have to punt.
It's a good
get Hearns in coverage.
Yeah, that's a good job by Hearns. When the play is extended, because Cal was not able to put any pressure on Delora. Delora had all day back there to throw the ball, so that really stresses the back end of the defense. Hearns was able to stick with his guy, and that's the defensive stop that I think Cal needed here on the second possession for the Cougs.
So Nick Haberer, the 20-year-old Australian, playing football for the first time in his life, with the run out, and it gets blocked. Cal blocked it. Picked up by the Cougs and racing forward, a first down. Ron Stone. Ron Stone Jr. picked it up. The San Jose
block
kid.
And legally advanced beyond the line to gain. First down, Washington State.
Nick Alfton with the block, and look at the defensive end. Ron Stone with a moment here back home.
He is playing out of his mind, kind of right place, right time, and that's unfortunate for Cal. You get the block. The punter's trying to extend it, let his guys get downfield, and right place, right time for Ron Stone. Man, that's kind of a kick in the chest there for Cal on the special team side of the ball.
Just a 4th down conversion. That's got to be one of the most unbelievable plays we'll see today. Daniel Scott throws Borghi back. Now, Borghi hasn't gotten much going on 3 carries. I cannot believe that play. Alfton gets the block.
It doesn't happen often. It really doesn't. But that's what they say. When you block a punt, if you're the punting team and your punt is blocked and the ball is behind the line of scrimmage, it's scoop and run. If the ball carries past the line of scrimmage, you want to get away, because that's now, acting as if it was a normal punt. But great heads-up play there by Ron Stone. You wouldn't expect a defensive lineman to have the wherewithal to pick that ball up and go run for a first down.
Stone is often one of the guys situated between the line and the punter. Delora, high throw, but it's brought in by Calvin Jackson Jr. on Josh Drayton.
That was a very good connection there by Delora and Jackson. When Delora releases this ball, you can't really see on that. Jackson's not even out of his break yet. He just understands that the leverage of the inside defender, Jackson's breaking away from that leverage, put the ball out there to one of my best playmakers on the field. First down. Excuse me. Now it's 3rd and manageable.
After the loss on that first down play from Borghi. So 3rd down here for Delora, and again connects with Jackson. That time in front of Trey Pastor, the inside linebacker.
Yeah, Jackson and Harris are a mismatch nightmare for this Cal defense. They really just don't have enough inside backer help to really handle the speed and the shiftiness of both slot receivers.
Here's Borghi again, about 1.5 yards. Still has really yet to find himself into space, and it's 2nd and 8.
Hasn't been able to find space, and that's a good thing for the Cal defense, because when Borghi gets in space, he is electric. He's got some of the best feet for a running back that I have seen. Able to get in tight holes, and when he does, when he's one-on-one in space, it's something special. And he's been doing it for a long time.
A pain in the neck for everybody in the league. It's what Peter Sermon called him this week when we talked to the Cal defensive coordinator. DeLauro winds up and connects with Harris down inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. And Washington State on the move again.
Yeah, this is the Washington State offense that we saw on the first drive of the game that went for a touchdown. Simply, Cal is just not getting enough pressure on DeLauro. He's just sitting in the pocket, able to read everything. That time, Cal is in a zone coverage, which means you need more pressure to force an errant throw, but they have not been able to do that.
No running back on the field now for the Cougs. 5 wide receivers for DeLauro. To the sideline, Harris just pitch and catch on this drive.
It's kind of looking like 7-on-7 right now for this Cougar offense. They are having their way. They're able to call the plays that keep defenses off balance. In this case, the Cal defense, because they're keeping up with the chains. For instance, it's 2nd and 3. 2nd and 3 is an offensive coordinator's dream. You can call anything that you have written down on your sheet. Very different from 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11, 12.
So we'll see what Brian Smith, the second-year offensive coordinator for Washington State, has here. Over the middle, caught by Victor. First catch of the day for Lincoln Victor, who played a couple years at Hawaii, walked on at Washington State back in January, and makes his 5th catch of the season.
And this is part of the matchup stuff I was talking about. Look at that option route by Victor there. He can go inside or outside. Scott was shaded to his outside. He's able to push, get up on his heels, fake that move outside, get his foot in the ground, and turn inside, and DeLauro is on time again.
So can Peter Sermon's defense bend but not break here in the red zone? Pressure coming, they bring it, and it's enough to make that throw a little high for Victor, but we'll check on this penalty in the backfield. There was heat coming on DeLauro.
Cal finally able to create some pressure on DeLauro, and now there's a penalty back there.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. This penalty being forced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And we saw this last week from Cal, both offensively and defensively, just making mistakes the wrong time. And it doesn't look like much, but at the same time, the rules have changed, and there's more of an emphasis on that this year, and therefore players need to adjust the way that they play the game.
It was 27, Trey Pastor, who got that penalty. Now here's Deion McIntosh, stood up and keeps his feet. Luke Beckett was the first man there, and he tried to rip the football out. Yulo Iosefa then came over with some help from Marcus Bimmage. Push Washington State back a couple of yards.
And there's a good job there by the Cal defense, especially inside. They're missing Stanley McKenzie, who typically plays their nose, but there's Luke Beckett, the 7th year, the most experienced player on the field today, making his name known in a big way down in the red zone.
And now whistles, and Washington State's going to take a timeout here before this 2nd down and goal play.
First timeout of the half. Washington State.
So a wild 4th down conversion, and Washington State trying to get some points out of it. $100 to the United Negro College Fund and the National Urban League in support of social justice. At the moment, the total amount raised, $19,000, and there's still a lot of touchdowns to be scored across the pack today.
We're still pretty early in this season. And now we're seeing Washington State in the red zone for the 2nd time in as many drives, and that was a point of emphasis for them coming into this game. When you get to the red zone, score touchdowns, not field goals.
They're 11th in the conference in that category, a touchdown on 42% of their red zone drives. Here comes pressure again. Delora steps up as McIntosh picked it up, and Delora is able to dive down to the 4-yard line where Cameron Good brings him down, and it's 3rd down.
Cal brought a couple extra guys there to force Delora out of the pocket. He's able to use his feet though and step up. They're going to need to find creative ways to disrupt Delora and this Washington State offense. Big 3rd down here from the 5-yard line if Cal can hold up.
McIntosh beside Delora. Pressure comes, lofts it for Jackson. Did he bring it in? No, he did not.
Goodness.
He thinks he did.
Oh my
that was an
goodness.
incredible catch either way. The question, did he get a foot down? If
He's
not,
looking
it's
up
4th
for the
down.
replay, and so are we. That right foot. Oh, that right foot's in.
It's in. So does he complete the catch here going to the ground? Remember, this is not a scoring play, so Nick Rolovich.
Wow.
It's not automatically reviewed.
That
Now,
is
Nick Rolovich, I guess, could challenge if the replay booth doesn't buzz down, but
The
replay
previous
can't
ruling of
buzz
an
down.
incomplete pass is reviewed.
Okay, and replay will buzz down. So again, all scoring plays are reviewed, but replay can weigh in if they think a call was missed scoring play or not. And you know, our replay official has already been right once today, Jerry Meyerhoff.
I mean, and they got this one right. Could you imagine if you make this catch and they don't count it as a touchdown? Wow. Calvin Jackson going up with the one hand.
It's ruled incomplete on the field, but
Able
you're
to
confident
turn-
this is going to be a touchdown.
Oh, I'm very confident that this is a touchdown.
Remember, because he's going to the ground here in the process of the catch, he has to maintain possession through contact with the ground, but the ball doesn't even move there, which it's allowed to, but it doesn't.
He's able to get that right mitt on the ball. Great adjustment. And the wherewithal with all that spinning to get that right toe down. I'll tell you what, there are some phenomenal catches in college football these days from these receivers, especially when they're able to go up with the one hand. And this one right here is right up there.
After reviewing the play, it's determined that the receiver had control with his right foot down. Therefore, it is a touchdown.
Second touchdown of the day for Calvin Jackson Jr., and it's one of the best catches you'll ever see. Wow. And that drive, complete with a blocked punt, picked up by Ron Stone and advanced for a first down, then culminates in that spectacular catch.
Everything's going the Cougs' way right now.
Yeah, you're right. Dean Janikowski on for his second PAT of the day. 2 for 2. Cal with a touchdown and a failed extra point. Washington State with 2 touchdowns in 2 drives on this first quarter. There have been 3 possessions in this game so far. That's it.
3 possessions, just in this first quarter. And as the first quarter comes to a close.
That's combined. Just to be clear, it's combined possessions.
Well, these offenses have been able to put together long, sustaining drives. You know, for Cal, they have been unable or unable to disrupt Delora. And when they have disrupted Delora on the last couple of plays, you know, Jackson goes up and makes an amazing catch for 6. Cal's been able to run the ball offensively, which obviously is going to take up some time on the clock. But both offenses came out here with a very distinct plan, a very distinct way that I think that they're going to play this ball game, and they've been executing at a high level.
Nico Remigio, who was injured last week, is back deep to receive the kick. And it goes into the end zone for a touchback. And let's go to our San Francisco studio for an update from Mark Wilson. Mark.
All right, guys, your update brought to you by Land Rover. Oregon's having the second half start they need. C.J. Verdell, just 1 yard out, finds himself in the end zone. 17-14 now the score, and Oregon threatening for more. Guys, Shane, back to you.
How about that? The number 3 team in the nation No matter what Stanford does, it plays Oregon tough. We know that.
Stanford plays Oregon and USC tough. No matter what's going on in their year up until that point, both of those games, they tend to show up.
So now what does Cal's offense have in response? Monroe Young, the man in motion there. Christopher Brooks with a touchdown on the last series. Met and stopped up by Jihad Woods, who is your difference maker coming into play today, making his 45th straight start on this Washington State defense. He's the Pac-12's active leading tackler.
45 straight starts. The most important ability is availability. He is such a problem for offensive linemen to climb and block because of his quickness and his speed, his side-to-side movement, but also what makes him special is his ability to finish through the ball.
And it puts Cal behind the chains here. So a 2nd down and 12 now. Brooks stays in the game beside Chase Garbers. Steps up, looks downfield, and that one too low. It's headed for one of his tight ends, Colin Moore. Cal played 7 different tight ends last week in the game against Washington.
Yeah, they played 7 different tight ends, but they're really looking for that position to kind of step up and really make their imprint. And they played 7 because I still feel like they're looking for that guy. I think it is Jake Tonjes, but he's been kind of hampered with a little bit of a knee injury last week, and he's got the brace on again this week. But they really enjoy and they really like utilizing the tight end position. That's why they have so many of them. But it just needs to come to an execution.
Kaleki Latu, the true freshman tight end in the game for the first time. Garber's in trouble, and he's brought down and sacked. Willie Taylor with a huge 3rd down sack of Garbers, and Cal will have to punt.
The speed of this Cougar defense. They showed 2 backers up in the A gap, the mug, but the pressure came on the outside. That's a mismatch. They're on the outside, and Del Toso wasn't able to really get too much of a hit there on the blitzing linebacker.
James Sheehan now on to punt. Good hang time for Harris, who gets hit immediately and brought down by the Cal coverage unit. So that is, and how about this? That's the first time that Cal hasn't scored a touchdown on its 2nd drive of the day. They've been a 2nd drive team.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you run the ball on 1st down and you lose 2 yards, and now you're 2nd and long. The reason Cal has been so successful on their 2nd drive and just their offense moving the ball in general is they keep up with the chains offensively. They're never in a situation. They're not in situations too often where they're trying to get extra yards or going backwards.
126 yards of offense in this quarter for Washington State. As the quarter's winding down, Delores taking a shot for Stribling, and he overshoots him. And now 5 seconds left in the first quarter.
You know, it's interesting, Coach Rolovich, when we were talking to him earlier this week, he said he's had to call these games up until this point pretty conservatively because he hasn't felt that the offense has been able to create the big play ability, create those big downfield throws, or really had time to even get the ball downfield. And what we're seeing so far in this game is the conservative play calling is out the window.
Delora, pressure, steps up, ball's out, but Delora is able to fall on it. It was Ethan Saunders getting a hand on the football as he ran by Delora, and that's how our first quarter ends. Washington State still with the football. They've been really good on offense. 2 teams, each seeking its first Pac-12 win of the season. 1 quarter in the books here on a warm Saturday in Berkeley. Time now for Together We Fly, brought to you by Allegiant Airlines. Let's take a look back at the amazing Calvin Jackson Jr. touchdown.
Yeah, we got a switch release from the 2 inside receivers, or the outside and the inside receivers. And then after that, Delora puts the ball up. Calvin Jackson goes up. He will be on SportsCenter later tonight, folks. That was an incredible catch.
One-handed, 1 toe down, spinning around, 2 touchdowns for Jackson Jr. coming off. He had the career high 8 for 94 yards against SC a couple of weeks ago. So now a 3rd down and 12 for Washington State to start this second quarter, and they started off by getting it to Max Borghi in space, and there's the true freshman Lumagia Hearns coming up to make the stop. Tough play.
That was a really good play there by Hearns. He had his eyes in the backfield the whole time. They played zone to that side of the field, and he came up in a hurry. See that speed. But not only that, able to break down and make the tackle on a very shifty Borghi in space.
Well, young man they really like. A true freshman, trial by fire for him here. He's getting experience the hard way, but they think so highly of him.
Well, I think, you know, for his talent level and what he's already able to do, there is no ceiling for how good he can be.
No rollout punt this time from Washington State after it was blocked on the previous punt attempt by Haberer. And so Remigio fair catches it. And Cal's offense will come back onto the field. Strong effort there by Cal's defense, given it felt like momentum was kind of against them. A couple things had not broken their way.
Oh, if Washington State goes down and scores on that last possession, the momentum is completely on Washington State's side. So that was a very good job by the Cal defense to stand up and not only stop them but push them back. They're on the first play of that drive, and Hearns coming up and making a play on 3rd down. And now Cal gets the ball.
We'll see if Garbers has been throwing on the sideline. We've played a quarter of football. He has 1 pass attempt in this game. So hopefully that keeping that arm warm down there. Who would have expected that? Pressure coming, tight pocket, and he unable to get it over to Remigio. Bodies all around him. Of course, this is a Cal offense that has really improved here in year 5 under Justin Wilcox. The production, you see those numbers at the bottom, that's this year. And those are all highs for the Wilcox era. The yardages are way up. This is really the first full year now. Bill Musgrave took over last year. Of course, it was such an odd year. And now they've had more than a year of learning it. And
well,
you can see they've got a lot to their available to them.
Yeah, and I think Bill Musgrave is the most veteran of coordinators that Cal has seen in a very long time.
2nd down and 10. This is Brooks running hard in that first quarter. He gets tackled by Amir Mujahid. What a great story. Mujahid, 48, on that defense in white today, who grew up playing his high school football a mile straight down Durant Avenue. You could walk down and get there before halftime at Berkeley High School. He played his junior college ball at Laney College in Oakland. And Jake Dicker, the defensive coordinator, told us we got to get him more snaps this week. He's been really consistent on the interior of our defensive line. He's earned it, and he's got a pep in his step. Get ready for his homecoming, and he makes a tackle there. So here's Garbers on 3rd down, and a big conversion. Trayvon Clark with his first catch of the day.
Trayvon Clark with a nice stop route on the outside, but was set up this 3rd down and 5 was just a 5-yard run from Christopher Brooks. Like I said, when Cal is able to keep things manageable, when they get into 3rd and manageable situations, 2nd and short situations, it keeps the offensive playbook wide open. And when Cal's offensive playbook is open, they're extremely tough to predict and tough to stop.
Cal is at about 6 yards a carry so far today. Garbers holding on, steps up away from the pressure, then dumps it down to Brooks, and he couldn't bring it in before Woods got there.
Garber's able to extend the drive with his legs. One of the things that Washington State has keeping an eye on, and unfortunately Christopher Brooks is unable to bring that in. He was going to get hit, you know, regardless, but it would have been nice now to stay ahead of the chains and have a 2nd and short. You know, my dad told me a long time ago, you're going to get hit regardless, so you might as well catch the ball. Sounds so simple.
Yeah, I know. It's easy for us to say, but you could say that. You take your word for it. Garbers, Remigio, but he's wrapped up and brought down immediately by Armani Marsh. Armani Marsh, who Jake Dicker said really the anchor of the secondary. He's done a really good job covering this year, the nickelback.
Well, yeah, they put him in very different positions. With this 4-2-5 defense, the nickel has probably the most responsibility, but he also needs to have the most versatility, playing up on the line of scrimmage, playing deep sometimes, and man-to-man coverage at times. So they really, really like the skill set of Marsh.
Garbers, pressure in his face again, steps away from Woods, but he can't get away from Justice Rogers, who brings him down. And there were bodies all around Chase Garbers on that third down play, and Cal have to punt.
Washington State's defense is using their speed and dialing up some pressures that have really been frustrating for the Cal offensive line, and really getting into the lap of Garbers, forcing him to step up and move in the pocket. Any quarterback that's feeling this type of pressure is going to have a long, tough day in the office.
Jamison Sheehan on for the punt to Travell Harris, the dangerous return man, handles both kick returns and punt returns, and he fair catches it at the 24-yard line. 4 minutes, 11 minutes and 19 seconds remaining here in the second.
Timeout on the field.
Cougs back on offense. One Jockey. Shop for all at jockey.com. And by 76, we're on the driver's side. Second quarter here in the Bay, with Washington State leading Cal 14-6, a touchdown and a missed point after, a failed point after, the better way to put it. Never got the kick attempt off for Cal. There were only 3 possessions in the first quarter of this game. Cal just punted to Washington State, and Jaden DeLaura, who didn't play last week, back today with that brace on his left knee. And this Washington State offense has looked in sync. Ball almost came out there, but Deontay McIntosh able to keep a hand on it after J.H. Tevis was nearly able to rip it, and he gets more than 5, almost 6 yards on first down.
Yeah, giving up, if you're Cal's defense, giving up 6 yards on a draw play on 1st and 10 is not acceptable. They really need this defensive line and the interior linebackers to step up and make their presence felt in this football game.
Lost Brett Johnson before the season. Stanley McKenzie injured last week. Back to McIntosh. And he's got first down yardage. And that's one of the things with this Washington State offense, right? We spend so much time talking about Max Borghi, rightly so. When you talk to the Cal coaches and when you talk to Washington State's coaches, they both have a lot of respect for Deion McIntosh.
Absolutely. He runs tough. And one thing that really impresses me about McIntosh is when I watch his tape, when he decides to put his foot in the ground and get upfield, the tape speeds up.
DeLaura intercepted, picked off by Nate Ruchina, the freshman from just down the road in Danville, with his first pick right when Cal needed a boost.
Timely. And there you see Coach Sermon with the fist pump. He's just sitting, waiting in that window. Washington State, that's Washington State's version of an RPO. They ride the running back across, and then they throw based off of what the linebacker does. If the linebacker sits back, he's supposed to hand the ball off. That time, the linebacker was able to bait him, step up, but then get back into his pass coverage, and good things happen when you play sound football.
Cal doing some rotating with its inside linebackers. Of course, Coin Dang, the star linebacker, still out injured, and Nate Ruchina got the opportunity, and the local kid with a pick sets his offense up. First down at the 30. This is Marcel Dancy's first carry of the day. And you have to wonder if we'll see Damian Moore much again today. He fumbled at the end of the game last week in overtime, then fumbled on the first series they recovered it, Cal did, but we have not seen him since then.
Well, yeah, the last 2 carries, unfortunately, for Moore, he's coughed the ball up. And when you're playing against a defense that hangs their hat on creating turnovers, like I said last week, Utah coughed it up 7 times. You're just, as a coach, you're just not going to have much patience for that when it's been talked about all week.
Garbers, play action, more pressure. Garbers in trouble. Garbers hit as he throws. Justice Rogers and Derek Langford Jr. were both in pursuit, and both just about got there as Garbers was getting away from it. But this has been the story of this quarter.
Oh, it really has, because Garbers just hasn't had any time to throw the ball, and there they went for a play action pass. The only problem is when you run play action and you're not able to secure the edges and secure the pocket, it doesn't really bode well for a great offensive play. Their Garbers, the only thing that kept that play alive and keeping it from being 3rd and 15 or more is Garber's legs being able to get out of the pocket and get rid of the football.
You see the numbers, Cal 1 of 3 on 3rd downs. Garber's again under duress and brought down. Brennan Jackson was there for the sack along with Daniel Isom, and Washington State is flying around on defense.
The speed has just been too much for this Cal offensive line really to handle. There's almost 2 guys in the backfield, 3 guys in the backfield, two of which were untouched. And those 2 guys in the backfield were Jahad Woods and Daniel Isom. And those are 2 guys that if you're Cal, you have to know where they are on every single play. You have to make sure that you have a body for those guys.
Not in field goal range, so they'll go for it here on 4th and 14. Washington State showing pressure again, this time backs off. Garbers pass the ball, throws, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Jalen Watson. And either way for Cal, it would have been Washington State ball around the same vicinity. But a pick, Washington State takes it back. The defense holds up after the Cougar turnover. Now they've got the ball again. Interception from Jalen Watson for the Cougs. Now this was a 4th and 14. Cal going for it here, Shane.
Yeah, where they were on the field, too short for a comfortable punt, too long for a comfortable field goal. And Jalen Watson, the most talented of the Cougs DBs, sat on the route, jumped it, Coug ball.
The interception return got the ball about back to the line of scrimmage. In an odd way, the Cougs actually lost a couple of yards on that interception because it was 4th down. Here's the trick play, ended around, and a throw downfield to Donovan Ollie, and it's incomplete. That was Lincoln Victor who chucked it. A lot going on there for Washington State, trying to take a shot after the change.
Yeah, why not? You know, so far in this game, everything's been going Washington State's way.
Delora threw a block.
Yeah, everybody's getting a piece. This Washington State offense is playing with a lot of confidence right now. And, you know, the receivers were covered downfield, but if I'm Victor, when I've had my opportunity to throw a pass in a football game, the ball's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm letting it fly.
Delora has McIntosh beside him, gives to McIntosh on 2nd down, and there's Drayton to wrap him up around the ankles, and now it's a 3rd and long.
It's 2 good plays here by Cal's defense. First, staying home on the trick play that Washington State ran on 1st down, and here McIntosh tries to bounce it outside, but Drayton does a great job of keeping the edge contained, setting the edge, and then coming up with the tackle. 3rd and long.
Neither team's been good in this situation on the season, but sometimes it's hard to know what to make of Washington State's offensive numbers. 4 different quarterbacks have played this year, of course. Some movement up front, and it might have been the left tackle, Liam Ryan, for the Washington State Cougars that jumped first.
False start for 63 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
Yeah, and that's big.
3rd down.
3rd down, yeah. And that's big. Liam Ryan, he's the voice of this offense.
Correction, 3rd down.
This is a guy you're going to see on Sundays. Rare mistake by Liam Ryan.
Making his 35th straight start today. They need to get to the 44 to pick up the 1st. Delora, a no-look shovel to McIntosh, off and racing out across the 44 and a 1st down. What was that flip pass?
That was a great offensive call there by Washington State. The underhand shovel, which is pretty much a screen, but you're just going to flip it to the running back. It's a little bit faster than a long, drawn-out screen. Get the ball in McIntosh's hands.
We get it to him again here as they hurry up, but he loses 3 yards on 1st down. Patrick Mahomes-ification of football. We saw Garbers with the no-look pass a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. These guys are talented, and they're playing to it. They're playing free. They have enough confidence in themselves to pull off the no-looks and the shovel passes.
I have a feeling if we found somebody who played ball with James DeLore when he was like 8, they'd say he's been doing it since then, right?
Absolutely.
Force of nature. And Brian Smith, their offensive coordinator, told us DeLore keeping it here. Pumping, lofting, launching, and throwing an interception. Daniel Scott came over to take it away. Second straight drive that ends in a pick for the Cougs. And just when it looks like they're going to lose a little, Cal's able to battle back with its defense. 6:20 to go here in the first half. And Daniel Scott with his 3rd pick in the last 4 weeks. Game on a 3rd and 14. So in some ways effectively a punt. And Cal will take over at its own 18-yard line.
Daniel Scott continues to show up for this Cal defense week in and week out. On that one, he was playing the post safety middle of the field, covered a lot of space, and able to finish with the ball.
Nico Remigio shifts out of the backfield for Cal as Garbers takes over. 3 of 8 passing the ball, so they get him a quick conversion or a quick completion to Remigio. But the problem was he turned around and Trayvon Clark, his teammate, was standing right there for the stop.
Yeah, the pursuit of this Washington State defense really has been their biggest asset in this game, being able to stretch and get from sideline to sideline. The defensive line, you saw them out running on that last screen to Remigio, really bottling up this Cal offense.
Elijah Mohoro, the sophomore tight end who had his first catch last week, has come into the game now as Crawford goes in motion to the top of your screen. Here's Brooks on the handoff. Steps out of the first tackle but cannot get away from the second man, George Hicks, for the stop.
George Hicks saved a lot of yardage there for this Washington State defense. Brooks able to bounce the ball outside, shed one, but he was not able to get rid of Hicks. It's a good tackle and a good job for this defense coming up and really stifling the run.
That's one of the strengths of that free safety, the graduate student, the run defense. So now here's another 3rd down and long. Pressure coming from Washington State. And that ball's deflected at the line. A flag comes out. There was a lot of heat on Garbers. And this one might be going against Cal.
Holding for 72 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Still, 3rd down.
Yeah, that hold was inside.
Washington State has elected to decline the penalty. 4th down.
All right.
There we go. We got it right. The speed of this Washington State defense has been a story, in my opinion, so far in this game. Cal offensively usually does very well in the first half of games. And the speed and aggressiveness of Washington State has just been too much for them to handle so far.
Cal has 4 first downs. But Washington State's been turning the ball over. Picks on the last 2 possessions for the Cougar offense as they get it back here under 5. From Boulder, first half stats and analysis of this one, plus USC's offense was clicking in Boulder today. They got out to a fast start there. That's all coming up to Carvana halftime. Tightwad Hill populated this afternoon.
Anything goes on Tightwad.
I think he's filming the game.
he must have DirecTV.
14-6 the score after the change of possession. James DeLore on first down throws complete to Travell Harris, and it looked like there might be nothing there, and he's able to get a yard or 2. A lot of pushing and shoving after that play. Remember, Cal won the opening toss, declined, so Cal will get the ball first to start the second half. Washington State's they've moved the ball. They've got 100 more yards of offense than Cal does, but the last 2 possessions have ended in interceptions. Now a bunch of movement up front, a lot of pointing.
Looks like it's going to be on Cal.
Offside. Number 99 of the defense was in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
See Ethan Saunders.
Yeah, it's felt like Washington State just as a whole has been in total and complete control of this game. The only thing missing feels like Washington State should have more points on the board. But Cal is still very in this ball game here in the first half, as bad as they have looked at times.
Second down at 4. Straight drop back for DeLaura. He has time, steps up, hand on his jersey. It was Braxton Croto who was able to get a hand on DeLaura as he tried to get rid of the ball. And it's finally for Cal, it's their turn to get some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and you know, it's been too few and far between. Great job on the back end, staying in coverage, staying close to the receivers, and a good job up front of frustrating the pocket, getting pushed on the pocket from multiple directions and forcing a bad throw from DeLaura.
And here's a third down. DeLaura's thrown the ball 21 times in this game. Completed 15. Over the middle, contested but caught. Freshman on freshman there, Stribling with Hearns in his hip, and Stribling wins that matchup.
You know, and this was just a great catch. Another 50-50 ball, and Stribling goes up, strong hand, secures the catch. Hearns was in good position, just unable to finish with a pass breakup.
Washington State hurrying, little delay handoff here for Borghi. Most space he's seen today. Puts his shoulder down and is able to meet Raymond Woody, and he finally gets forced down. But a good chunk for Borghi.
Yeah, and this was the third down conversion. Stribling coming across the middle, and Hearns is right there. It's hard. It's going to be hard for a DB to get in better coverage position than he just was, just unable to finish at the ball, finish through the catch.
Second down and 3. Borghi picks up the pressure, gives DeLaura time to loft it. Stribling, he's got it! Touchdown, Washington State! No, he lost the ball at the end. It was a touchdown until it wasn't.
It was an incomplete pass. Third down.
He's going to the ground on that play, and so he has to survive the ground, and the ball popped out.
DeLaura does a great job of giving his receiver a shot to make the play, and unfortunately, Stribling unable to complete the catch in the end zone. Great job of high pointing the ball, tucking the ball away, just wasn't able to keep a hold of it once he did tuck it away.
And so now it's a 3rd and 3. Almost another great catch from this Washington State receiver corps. Deion McIntosh into the game. DeLaura was looking for that pitch. It wasn't there, and so he just throws it into the ground. McIntosh got caught up, and that killed the play.
Number 3 was in the area of the pass. Fourth down.
Yeah, they were going back to that shovel pass that worked for him earlier in this drive.
On a 3rd and long.
On a 3rd and long, exactly. And this time Cal sniffed it out, and the D-line was able to get McIntosh to the ground and disrupt it.
But Washington State's going to go for it here on 4th and 3. DeLaura does have 1 punt this year. That should be noted here, 28 yards. So he can do that should they choose to kick it away. McIntosh the back beside him. And they move. Washington State jumped. DeLaura can't believe it. It looked like Liam Ryan again, the left tackle.
Prior to the delay of the game. Timeout. Washington State.
Well, Washington State saved itself from the false
30
start.
seconds in duration.
And the Cougs have 1 timeout remaining here with 3:08 left in the first quarter.
They're able to use a timeout instead of taking, I believe they said it was a delay of game. The clock was winding down. I'm really curious though if they were going to punt it or actually had a play drawn up.
3:08 to go here in the second quarter. Justin Wilcox looking for a stop on this 4th down and 3. Nextiva Team Talk. When you need to talk with your team, always use Nextiva. And so the conversation going on that Cougar sideline about what to do here on the big 4th and 3.
On the road, looking for your first conference win of the season. You go for it. You're on Cal's side of the football field. Your defense has been playing its butt off up until this point. The offense has been able to move the ball. 3 yards is not too daunting right now for Washington State.
McIntosh beside Delora. Looking to throw. Pressure coming. Delora to Jackson, and he can't get there. And so Cal's going to take over on downs at the 35-yard line with 3 minutes to go.
Cal was in man coverage. Jackson was one-on-one. I had a big feeling that Delora was going to try and go back to the well of Jackson. Not the best throw that we have seen from Delora today, but Cal able to hold on, force a turnover on downs.
Now look at Cal's offense. It's been so good, and not just really good. It's been a first half offense.
Yes.
And a first quarter offense.
And they just haven't had it so far in this game. This first half is outside of the second drive where they scored, or the first drive where they scored.
But they've been a good 2-minute offense.
Yes, they have.
Now this isn't 2, this is 3. But maybe that can jumpstart them here. Here's Brooks on the toss, running hard around the edge, able to get away from Woods and just churn forward for a Cal first down. Actually, they're going to mark him shy by 2 yards. I thought he
seemed like
well past that first down marker, but it's going to be second down and short.
I like when they get Christopher Brooks shoulder square downfield, running downhill. I think that's when he's the most effective runner.
Taking a look at that replay, looks like a good spot, and they will throw Brooks forward, or at least he throws his body forward for the first down.
Clock's going to stop temporarily, but as you said, this isn't a 2-minute drill situation for Cal. When they got the ball, there is over 3 minutes left, but Cal does have an opportunity to score in the half and then get the ball at the beginning of the second half, a chance to put two scores up before Washington State's offense touches the field.
Garbers, pressure, steps up, stumbles forward, and is able to pick up 5 yards. You know, they did it at the end of the first half last week. They did it at the end of the game last week. But the end of the first half was a significant drive. They almost got into field goal range against Washington last week. Eventually that game went to overtime where Washington won. Here's Brooks. Jihad Woods right there along with Daniel Isom. A flag is down in the backfield. Our referee Francisco Villar. Only been 3 penalties in this game so far today.
Holding. 61 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty to still. Second down.
Valentina Del Toso, 3rd penalty against Cal.
And that's going to push them back. And, you know, as we said, it's not necessarily always about the penalties, but it's about when the penalties are called or when the penalties affect the defense or affect your offense. And when you're trying to put a drive together to close out the half, you got the ball in favorable field position, and now you're facing 2nd and 15.
That's Dancy who comes out of the backfield for Cal. 4-man pressure, and Garbers goes to Dancy, and it's incomplete. Watson was right there in coverage, and now it's 3rd and long, and all of a sudden Washington State's got to be thinking about getting the ball back.
Yeah, they were trying to get the ball outside of Dancy on just a short hitch, try and make this 3rd and manageable. Just get a little bit of it back, probably hoping for about 7-8 yards there on that play just to put them in favorable field position for this 3rd down. But now they're 3rd and 15. Cal offensively just has not been able to get anything going. It's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back pretty much this entire first half.
Still just 4 first downs on the day. More pressure. Again, Garbers flush across his body, dumps it down where it's caught, but nowhere to go for Elijah Maharo. And so the clock at 1:07.
Third and final timeout, Washington State.
So Washington
30
State
seconds
uses,
in duration.
Washington State uses that timeout. Maharo didn't get out of bounds, which is good for Cal. So the Cougs have no timeouts left, but they've got a really good returner and a minute 7.
Minute 7 should be plenty of time, depending on this punt and where the ball is fielded, the starting line. You know, minute 7 with no timeouts is tough. But Delora's been able to connect with both Jackson and Harris on out routes. They've been good down the sideline. They're going to be able to get the clock to stop after each first down. So it's not going to be easy, but there's a shot.
Don't forget the Carvana halftime report coming up with Ashley Adamson, Michael Bumpus, and Nick Aliotti. Ashley Adamson, royalty in Boulder. And I'm sure they've been having a good time there today. Jameson Sheehan on for the punt to Travell Harris. And this is a good high punt. Harris is going to have to fair catch it at about the 13-yard line. So 1 minute even on the clock and no timeouts for Washington State. Cougs are just over 200 yards of offense on the day.
You know, Coach Wilcox said to us, in the 3 losses that Cal has had this year, you know, it's come down to just a few plays each and every game. You never know when those plays are going to come throughout the game. But on that last drive, they really had a chance to score and get the ball back in the second half. And that holding penalty on 2nd and 5, I think really made that drive nearly impossible for Cal's offense. Just the way that they've been playing, offensively, they haven't been able to get things going, and Washington State's defense has been able to capitalize.
So can Washington State get down the field in 60 seconds? Delora pumps it, goes down. First sack of the day for the Cal defense. And that's about as good a way as they could start this drive. And for Washington State with no timeouts, now maybe they start conserving. Luke Beckett was there for the sack.
Luke Beckett getting inside pressure, able to get to the quarterback. Delora no place really to go with the ball early, and they bring him out. And that's Cam Cooper coming in, the lefty.
So Cam Cooper, who has appeared this year in a few of the games, including last week's. And Delora wasn't available, and he is a mobile quarterback. He can run it, and he takes a shot there from Drayton, and that will be the end of the half, unless Cal wants to use a timeout. And Cal does not. So Washington State has had its opportunity, and in some ways Cal has to feel like at 14-6 with so much that's gone wrong, they're still right in this game at the half.
Yeah, they're lucky it's only 14-6. This has not been the way Cal has typically started games or played a first half. They are much better than this. I think they know it. Washington State's been able to capitalize a couple of times. I'm looking forward to see who comes out in this second half with some momentum.
Carvana halftime coming up next. It's first Pac-12 win of the season. You take a look at the first half numbers. Shane, what stands out to you?
What stands out to me is the lack of productivity from Cal's offense. 104 total yards. This is not the offense that we have seen at all this year, especially in the first half. Typically, these types of numbers kind of come towards the end in the second half for Cal. They typically start games off extremely fast and put points up. On the other hand side, Washington State's able to capitalize on poor play from Cal and, you know, get 2 touchdowns, but I still think that there's more for this Washington State offense out there. They've been able to get the ball to their playmakers, and their playmakers have been able, you know, to make plays and move the ball down the field. It just hasn't been consistent enough. And speaking of consistency, this is the first half drive chart for Cal's offense, and you can see that they're able to do it. They went 79 yards starting out on their own 25 the first drive of the game, but since then it's just been 3-and-outs and punts and turnovers and just really poor play. In my opinion, it starts up front for this Cal offense. The front line has been strong, probably the strongest group that Cal has had, the most consistent group that Cal has had coming into this game. And the speed of the defense for Washington State, Coach Musgrave told us that it was going to be difficult because of that factor, because of the speed that Washington State plays with on defense, and it came to fruition. Cal's offensive line has been unable to really contain and slow down the rush and keep the pocket clean for Chase Garbers in this offense.
So Cal, who won the opening toss, deferred the decision to the second half, will get the ball first here. And you got to figure there's some Washington State fans maybe chewing on their fingernails right now. They've seen some version of this game before, right? the first half early scoring, that's not the issue for Washington State. It's holding on, right?
Yeah.
They know how to take the reservation. Do they know how to
show up on
keep the
time?
reservation? And so here comes Chase Garbers. We talked about it so much. The prolific numbers this year, historic relative to his career in the Wilcox era, but 59 yards passing in the first half for Cal.
And a lot of times, really, it's just being able to get that first down, being able to complete that first pass, the first run, getting 5-6 yards. It's that easy. It's all it takes to get an offense back on track.
Damian Moore, who fumbled early in the game, in there running back, and nobody there to stop Brennan Jackson from picking up the sack. The third sack of the game for this Cougar defense.
Third sack of the game, first play of the second half. Del Toso's been having a really tough time there on the right-hand side of the offensive line. Jackson able to expose him, get inside, and get to Garbers. Washington State's defense trying to start this second half on a strong note.
Moore remains in the game. Garbers gives it to him. Two hands on the ball as he butts through. He had the fumble late last week on the final play of the game, the play that lost it in overtime against Washington. And then early in this game fumbled, and this is the first time we've seen him since. It was all Brooks and a little bit of Dancy in the first half. Now here's a 3rd and 13.
3rd and 13, but that was a positive play there by Moore. Two hands on the ball. I credit the coaches for being able to get him back in the game, but this 3rd and 13 is not a high percentage down for any offense in all of college football.
Justin Richard Baker comes out of the backfield. Garbers looking that way, gets him the ball. Got a couple blockers out in front, but he can't get away from Justice Rogers. And a 3-and-out for Washington State's defense here to start this second half.
We talked about momentum. One way to create it if you're Washington State is a 3-and-out. I don't hate the play call. I think there was some room there, but I believe they were trying to get the ball more outside, but a great tackle in open field for Justice Rogers.
So Jamison Sheehan on to punt it away to Travell Harris. That's how Cal came out of the locker room last week against Washington, and it was not an indication of things to come. Cal later got things going, but it's had to lean heavily on its defense here. Washington State offense. Jane DeLora back behind center gets its first shot of the second half next. In the sun at the foot of the hills. And first possession of the second half now for Washington State after Cal went 3-and-out. Jane DeLora, who did not play last week with that knee injury suffered against SC, is back and started this game and started fast. Jared Garantano not available today. Here's Deion McIntosh slipping through just a little crack on the left side and turning it into a big gain out to midfield to pick up a 14 yards.
Good play call, good execution. Great job by McIntosh. This is what I'm talking about. A little shake. Once he gets that little shoulder square and that foot in the ground, the tape speeds up. Great explosiveness and strength. He's a good back and a very underrated back in this conference.
Max Borghi, of course, getting all the attention, and rightfully so. Maybe not 100%. 5 carries for 10 yards for Borghi today. Back to McIntosh. Off at a sprint before he finally gets met by Elijah Hicks, but a 14-yard and now a 13-yard run for McIntosh.
Yeah, and they go back to the quick shovel passer. Excuse me, that was a quick draw. But the offensive line for Washington State is seemingly able to create big gaps and big running lanes. As a defensive lineman, you have a responsibility, whether it's a running lane, a gap. Washington State's offensive line is able to move Cal's defenders to where they want, creating big running lanes for McIntosh.
Borghi back in the game now for Washington State. For those 2 big runs from McIntosh. Give it to Borghi. And he cannot get away. Femi Oladipo, the true freshman from Sacramento who Justin Wilcox loves, just has such a bright future. They're rotating him in at inside linebacker, and they think that he could be an impact player down the road for them. 6'3", 240-pound true freshman from about an hour and change away.
There's a couple of true freshmen on this defense that are pretty impressive.
Magia Hearns, the defensive back, who's at the bottom of the screen. Delora going the other way. Daniel Scott got a hand in, but strong hands of his own. Lincoln Victor holding on for the catch.
It's a
And
good
that was third down.
Yeah, that was a good catch by Lincoln Victor. But like you said, strong hands, finishing the ball, finishing the catch to the ground, creating a 3rd and 5 for this offense, which is exactly what this offense needs to be successful. 3rd and very manageable.
Calvin Jackson Jr. with 2 touchdown catches for Washington State today. He's in the slot at the bottom of the formation. Pressure coming. Borghi goes flying backwards. Delora flushed out of the pocket, looking downfield. He's going to take it and run and pick up the first down and then step out of bounds on the 3rd down conversion. And Delora takes a moment. I thought he was looking at his knee for a second. We'll just take a moment to collect himself.
Great job by Delora, but this is the frustrating part if you're a Cal fan and for Peter Sermon in this defense. You have the perfect defensive call, the perfect blitz. You have 3 guys in the backfield, and Delora just escapes their leverage and able to get outside and pick up the first down with his feet.
See the frustration there for Justin Wilcox. Delora lofts it, wants the end zone. Ali cannot make what would have been a great back shoulder catch. Calvin Jackson Jr. already has a one-hander today, and Donovan Ali trying to match it. It's now 2nd down. Colin Gamble was the man in coverage.
You know, and this is part of the confidence I think with Delora that he brings, giving his guys a chance to make the big play, pushing the ball down the field. It might not work every time. Gamble there in great coverage position. But when you have Delora, a guy that plays with confidence, a guy that's not afraid to break something out of his toolbox and throw the ball kind of an awkward way, it just bleeds to the rest of the team.
There's Borghi running strong, barreling forward close to the first down. He should have it across the line to gain. He does inside the 10, so 1st and goal now for the Cougs.
Yeah, and there's the best run of the day for Borghi. Able to finally get him in some space. I still don't think he's completely 100% though.
Again, he has it, and this time Good is there to help pull him down. Tevis in underneath there as well to block that up. What looks different to you?
You know, just a little bit of Borghi's hesitation. Typically he's not that hesitant of a back. He likes to use his feet. His side to side is what makes him special in my mind. And then his quick burst upfield, and you know, we just unfortunately haven't been able to really see that on display.
1st and goal for Delora. To the end zone, Stribling, touchdown Cougars! They march down the field on the first possession of the 2nd half and make it 20-6. And that was an impressive drive.
Oh, it really was. And Washington State able to use the switch release again on the outside. Last time they had the switch release, it was the one-handed catch to Calvin Jackson. This time they throw the ball to the inside receiver in Stribling, and he's able to secure it and get in. First possession of the 2nd half, and Washington State's offense is really picking up where they left off.
Janikowski the point after. So 21-6, a drive that started with a couple of big runs, ends with Jaden Delora's 3rd touchdown throw of the day for Stribling, his 2nd touchdown of the year.
That's been going back and forth. Hearns coming away a few times, but majority of the time it's been this Washington State offense capitalizing and moving the ball down the field at will, it seems at times.
Remigio with a return. Haven't had many chances at that. He had a big one a few weeks ago. And out to the 23-yard line. So can Cal get something going? They had the sack allowed on the first play of the 2nd half, and we're not able to overcome. So can Garbers and the Bears find something that can work? They're they're almost 2 yards a carry. They're 2.3 yards per carry in the first half, and 1 possession in the second, and 6 of 13 throwing the football.
You know, sometimes for an offense that's struggling multiple possessions, it just takes one play, one spark to get things going. That's what they need in a bad way.
They're going to run the ball here, and there is maybe the spark on first down. A first down carry by Chris Street. First time we've seen him, and they're just trying to find something.
It's just trying to find anything. Their Cal offensive line does a great job of opening up a hole. You know, sometimes as a defense, or when you see a running back that you haven't seen play all year, you don't really know what to expect. Is he in there to run the ball? Is he in there to protect? Is he in there to go out on a route? So you play a little bit on your heels, especially at the linebacker position, and there Cal was able to take advantage of it.
Street's first carry of the year, the sophomore, the second carry of his career. So now here's Garbers. Again with the pocket collapsing. Lofts it for Remigio. There was a lot of contact. Remigio wanted a flag, but he doesn't get it. And this crowd doesn't like it.
The crowd doesn't like it, but I watched Remigio's route from the beginning, and he started to throttle down and settle kind of in the zone. Garbers threw the ball deep as if he was supposed to continue his route. That was good coverage. There was a little bit of contact, but in my opinion, it wasn't really the big thing that disrupted that play. It was more Garbers and Remigio not being on the same page.
So now 2nd and 10. It was Daniel Isom there with the coverage. Brooks back into the game at running back. He's got to pick up pressure, and he does. Buys Garbers some time, but not enough, because after Isom came off the edge, then Woods came charging off the left side as well.
Number 11 was in the area of the pass, and the quarterback was 3rd down.
Yeah, this Washington State defense, primarily the defensive ends and Jahad Woods, and you know what, I'll throw Isom in the picture as well, have done such a tremendous job of keeping Chase Garbers uncomfortable, getting in his face every time he drops back. He's feeling pressure.
Here come the Cougs again. Pressure from the backside. Garber steps up, throws complete to the tight end Elijah Moharo, but only for a couple of yards, and it'll be 4th down. Armani Marsh was right there, and still Cal stagnating on offense.
Just not able to get anything going. Nothing looks comfortable for this offense, for the Golden Bears. Going backwards, not really staying consistent, moving the chains. And you got to tip your hat off to the Cougars defense. They're playing fast, and they're really executing the defensive plan that they had coming in.
And it's not just about the takeaways, right? I think that's one of the things that's impressive today. Here's Harris sent back to his 11-yard line, trying to stretch the field out, but no space, nowhere to go. But time to give this Cougar defense its credit if you haven't already. Holding Cal to 6 points so far today. Washington State getting the ball. The legacy of their son Tyler, of course, the former Washington State quarterback, is a part of what is a big mental health week beginning this week. You can see the ribbon with the number 3 for Tyler Herlinski on the helmet of the Cal players. Washington State will wear that sticker next week when they play Oregon State, who has their own initiative on campus, Damn Worth It, and will honor, of course, Tyler's legacy as well as those suffering and those lost. And more than 50 schools around the country participating in Mental Health Week is driven by the Herlinski Hope Foundation. And for Washington State next week, it will mean programs and workshops for players and coaches, and that's happening throughout the country. So credit to all those involved for the great work they're doing. Cal wearing the sticker and participating today, and that'll be a big part of next week's game for the Cougs as well. Washington State after the punt with that first down play. And Nick Rolovich has seen this year a team taking third quarter leads, unable to maintain. Utah last week, remember, Washington State led 13-7 in the third quarter, unable to keep it going. But trying to add on here. Here's Borghi getting to the outside with a stiff arm to the face mask of Lamagna Hearns. And picking up 8 yards.
You were just saying what you were thinking.
Yeah.
They gotta look like that. But there you go, getting Borghi out on the outside, and that's where he's most dangerous. When they're able to get him in space, specifically space to the outside of the formations, that's when he's had his most success and his biggest gains.
This offense showing no sign of slowing down right now. Really at 13-6 at the half, it felt like Cal was in some ways lucky. Washington State had thrown a couple interceptions in the first half. DeLaura with that long throw to the sideline, complete to Travell Harris. It'll be interesting to see when Oregon State comes in next week what that Beef team looks like. They play Washington today in what is a huge game.
Yeah, a lot of people have their eyes on that Oregon State UW game later on today. It's a chance the Beavs could keep it rolling from their success they had down in LA last week. Maybe beat a good team in UW.
It's coming up next here tonight on the Pac-12 Network. First time they've won in LA since 1960 against SC. Here's DeLaura on first down. Pumps. Sideline. Jackson underthrown. Daniel Scott was there in coverage. And that one hit him in the back.
Yeah, the Cal defense is lucky that DeLaura didn't put enough on this, because Jackson had him beat. It was Daniel Scott in coverage who was able to make up enough space to break up the pass, but if DeLaura is able to put that out in front, you see the frustration for Calvin Jackson. If he's able to put that out in front, that's 6 points for the Cougars.
Jackson already with a couple of touchdowns today.
And one in number 3.
Yeah, it's his second 2-touchdown game. Would be his third 3-touchdown game. Back to Borghi. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage. And that's it. Third down.
You know, we've been saying that Cal's offense has been needing that spark. But another way that they can find that momentum and find that spark is if the defense comes up with a turnover, defense comes up maybe with a big hit. Really, it just takes a little bit for that first domino to fall. And before you know it, the momentum is and the game is in your control. Right now, it's in Washington State's.
Crowd trying to get into this right now on 3rd and 10. Here comes some pressure from the Cal defense. DeLaura across the middle. Harris, and Hicks is there to bring him down. The ball came out. He's marked down. The ball went out of bounds anyway, and it's 4th down.
Moving on the field as the runner was down prior to the ball coming loose. 4th down.
Tackling on Hicks. This is a team that catches and runs, right? That's part of the run and shoot. Catch it and run. And Hicks not letting it happen here.
No, that's a big tackle for Hicks on, in my opinion, Washington State's best player, Travell Harris. And, you know, that was a big 3rd down stop for Cal. And in those situations, you need your seniors. You need Elijah Hicks to come and make that emphatic stop.
Haber, a 6'5" freshman with the punt out of the 21. That's where Remigio takes it. There's not been a lot in the return game. And so Cal gets it back. 7 minutes to go. 3:53 to go here in the 3rd.
They've just shown that they are just a mismatch for this Cal offensive front. And it's been a multitude of players. It hasn't just been the same guys that have been able to create pressure. They've been able to mix up their blitzes, mix up their stunts, and then when it comes down to it, you see Jackson just winning his one-on-one battles. But it's been Willie Taylor, it's been Brennan Jackson, it's been Ron Stone, Isom, Jahad Woods, Justice Rogers. Everybody's had their turn creating pressure on Chase Garbers.
And here's Garbers in the Cal offense back with the football. And several players in the backfield right off the snap. Able to break out of there was Chris Street. And Cal's just trying to find something that works, so they're going to the sophomore Street, who has more carries now in this game, 2, than he had in his career, 1 entering play today.
And they've both gone for 10+ yards. He's able to make a man miss in the backfield and get some positive yardage.
And there's another one, another man miss. That time he juked Travion Brown. He was able to get to the 2nd level, and another 1st down.
Feed him, feed him. He's got some type of tempo, some type of rhythm, change of pace type of back. He's able to slice and cut. And Washington State has not seen him on tape all year because he hasn't been there.
This time Garbers keeps design quarterback run. He can move, and he's able to pick up 10, 11 yards.
And this is what I was expecting to see more from Cal. They're able to get the speed of Washington State's defense, able to get them to flow one way, seal them off, and then you have run lanes on the backside of that.
Timeout on the field for an injured player.
And now we have an injured player. It's Ron Stone Jr. who's down for Washington State. This is a big game for him, coming back to the Bay Area where he went to high school, where he grew up, San Jose, went to Valley Christian. The best defensive player on this Washington State team this year, according to the defensive coordinator, Jake Dickert, and he just brings so much energy. And of course, a family with the deep roots in athletics and the pack. His dad, Ron, in the NFL for 13 years, a 3-time Pro Bowler, twice a Super Bowl winner for the Dallas Cowboys, and his volleyball playing sister, Ronika, at Oregon, and Rana, track and field for the Ducks.
Some good genes.
And then, you know, the other part of it is, as Jake Dickert told us, you better stack out an hour of your day if you're going to talk to RJ, because he can talk. and he says he gets that from his mom. He said, anyone that meets my mom says, oh, that's where he gets it from. It's just a bright, sunny disposition, and he brings so much positivity to this Washington State team. The run game is what's bringing the positive vibes for Cal. Another first down on the ground for the Bears.
And you know, it's taken a little bit long, but the Bears are finally starting to roll offensively on the ground game, and a lot of it has been the misdirection. We're going to fake to the right and bring the run back to the left. When you have a fast defense like Washington State's, this is a very effective way to run the ball.
Back to Street, and this play stops the streak of 4 straight first down runs for the Cal offense. Cal offense just got down here on an 11-yard run, an 11-yard run, a 10-yard run, and a 12-yard run.
That makes things pretty easy, especially for an offensive coordinator in Bill Musgrave. Finally starting to find something, find some rhythm offensively for this team.
Garbers pats the ball. Now he's going to take off, and he is running parallel to the first down marker. And we'll see where they mark him. I think just shy. Armani Marsh with the tackle.
Yeah, I think they're going to mark him just shy. It's going to be about 3rd and 1. Oh, just
maybe half a yard.
It's just maybe half a yard. But now we got 3rd and 1, and if you're Cal, you're in 2-down territory. There's no doubt about that. You're down 15 here at the end of the 3rd quarter. And really, you just want to score a touchdown on this drive. A field goal would be great, would be nice, but a touchdown is what you want.
Cal scored on the first drive of the game and hasn't been able to punch anything through since. Here's Damian Moore, and Moore gets stacked up and thrown back. He might have lost a yard.
Interesting play call here, in my opinion. The speed of Washington State's defense has been a problem for Cal's offense for about 3 quarters now. So if you understand that, then running a sweep, especially on 3rd and short, if you're unable to seal the defense off, if you're unable to climb to the backers from the offensive line on the front side, that makes it extremely tough on any running back to pick up any positive yardage.
4th down. I'm by Chris Jackson. And Cal was marching down the field and suddenly hits a brick wall just outside of the red zone.
Just 2 plays back to back for Cal's offense that were just not good and not really a good representation of what we've seen from this offense coming into this game. They've been able to convert those. That wasn't the best throw there by Garbers, even though Crawford was blanketed in coverage by Jackson. I thought I saw a little bit of a lane there for Garbers to take off and run to the left side, but he hung in the pocket and unfortunately wasn't able to connect.
And so Washington State takes over on downs. DeLaura with 25 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter is 20 of 32 today in his return to the Washington State starting lineup. And he's got some time to throw here, and he connects over the middle with Ali, and then has it punched out by Hearns. Well, what did Justin Wilcox tell us? And Peter Sherman, the defensive coordinator, he plays all the way through the end of every play. Emotional toughness is how he described one of Hearn's great skills, and that looked like a completion until he punched it out.
Absolutely, emotional toughness, and this man competes at a very high level. Regardless of who they match him up with, whether it's practice or in the game, they know they're going to get a very strong competitive effort out of Lou Hearns.
The San Francisco Chronicle Metro Player of the Year, the San Jose Mercury News Defensive Player of the Year out of De La Salle, playing as a true freshman here. And now this defense gets a stop. And a third down coming up. And Washington State will have the ball 3rd and 10 to start the 4th quarter. The Cougs trying to do what's been tough to come by, and that's hold on to a lead. Teams and its first Pac-12 win of the season. As we get ready for the 4th quarter here, Washington State with a 3rd down and 10 against this Cal defense in desperate need of a stop to try and get the ball back for an offense that just had a good drive and then stalled out. Jaden DeLaura out of the pocket. Cam Good chasing. Lofts it out of bounds, and Washington State will punt.
Quarterback was outside the pocket. The ball passed across the line of scrimmage.
And how about Stanford beating Oregon?
That is huge. Across the bay, over there in Palo Alto, like we said earlier, Stanford plays well against SC like every single time.
Cal has a flag down on this punt, and I'll tell you why that's relevant in a moment. We'll check on the penalty in a second, but Cal and Oregon will play in 2 weeks when they're both coming off the bye on a Friday. Kayvon Thibodeau was disqualified from the end of that game today for a targeting penalty, which means he would miss the first half of the next game, which isn't for 2 weeks.
Right.
So Cal won't see him in the first half of that meeting on Friday, October 15th.
Illegal formation. The kicking team, more than 4 players in the backfield. This 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Okay, so did Cal find something on that last drive that can work here on offense?
You know, yes and no. And the reason I say that is they were able to have 4 straight plays of 10 or plus yards on the ground. But I'm curious if that was because of specific defensive calls that Washington State was making. This drive right here is really going to tell me if Cal has found something that they can lean on for the rest of this ball game.
Here's Dancy getting chased down from the backside by Jihad Woods for a short gain of a couple. 2nd and 8. After 457 total yards of offense last week against Washington. 457 last week against Washington. Cal's at 170 right now.
Yeah, not only that, Chase Garbers has only completed 7 passes today. And that is just not like this offense. 7 passes for 65 yards through 3 quarters for Chase Garbers in this Cal offense.
Garbers keeping it here on the move, throwing it to Clark, and he makes the catch, stays in bounds, and is out to the 45-yard line. Tough throw there from Garbers, and a good connection there for the Bears.
Tough throw, but an easy completion. He must have heard me talking about how he's only completed 7 passes for 65 yards. There, because of the success of them running the ball on the last drive, now the play action works. It almost doesn't make sense to call play action passes if you're not running the ball well enough for the defense to bite.
20-yard pickup. It's the longest pass play of the day for Cal. Garbers again quickly gets rid of it. This time Remigio. And he gets 6 yards on that first down play, tackled by Armani Marsh. And Remigio goes limping off. Remember, we saw him shaken up last week against Washington late in that game. Empty backfield for Garbers now on 2nd down. Pumps, lofts it, down the sideline, the running back, and he overshoots Dancy.
Just a little bit too much. To say Chase Garbers wants this one back would be an understatement. The play was ran very well. Not only that, but it was ran on Jalen Watson, Washington State's best corner, against a running back in Dancy, and Dancy was able to get him to stop his feet and get past him, just unable to connect with Chase Garbers. It was there, though.
And now 3rd and 4. And look at that number. 1 of 10 today for Cal on 3rd down. He's got Clark, though, and he's got a foot down. Trayvon Clark brings it in, and a huge conversion for Cal as Clark beat Hicks and Watson.
Just an unbelievable job by Trayvon Clark. Gets the left foot down. He's able to get around Watson, find the softness in the zone. Garber's able to connect.
Now play action. Garbers throws it out of bounds. He wanted Tonjes, who got caught up there in coverage, the tight end. And with nothing left to do, he tossed it away. And 2nd and goal.
2nd and goal, and Cal desperately needs points in a big way. You know, offensively for Cal, when things just are stagnant, you know, just inconsistent, just not really going your way, sometimes all it takes is a play or a player. In this case, Trayvon Clark coming up with 2 big catches on this drive, moving the chains and keeping the hope alive.
Keikoa Crawford is the man in motion. They'll give it back to Street. And he has been an explosive boost in this 2nd half off the bench.
Yeah, Street's really earning himself some PT. He's been able to make guys miss, able to just get the ball upfield, especially on the inside.
The sophomore running back remains in the game. On 3rd down, Garbers gives it to him again, and he gets swallowed up. Armani Marsh coming in from the secondary to make the tackle. And now it's 4th down. What do you do? Keep the offense out there.
I think so. I think you've kind of, unfortunately, played yourself into a position to where you have to now go for it on 4th and anything close to the end zone. Armani Marsh in the backfield once again. I think we're going to need a stat at the end of this game. How many times a Washington State defender has been in the backfield?
Garbers looking, throws too low, too short of the end zone. Even if it's caught, it's incomplete to Street, and Washington State.
The ruling is an incomplete pass. Ball is turned over on downs. 1st down, Washington State.
With the stop.
Timeout on the field.
Wow. The story of the day, it's been when Cal's had the ball, Washington State have kept him out of the end zone since the first drive of the game, and the Cougs get the ball back. Another Washington State defensive stand, keeping Cal out of the end zone on a 4th and goal, and the Cougs lead 21-6. 11 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in regulation. Both teams seeking its first Pac-12 win of the season. Not just that, their first FBS win of the season. Both teams have been so close this year. Here's Max Borghi on 1st down, picking up a couple. Let's go back to that 4th down play where Washington State got the stop.
You know, earlier I was saying how Chase Garbers was an athlete, but now he's playing better at the quarterback position. But this throw here on 4th and about 3 or 4 yards, he's not using his feet. He's not stepping back and really pushing the ball forward. Poor feet in the pocket, throwing back, throwing with his weight back, and the throw is short, tough for any receiver to really handle. And, you know, those are the type of plays that really make a difference in a ball game.
Delora put some heat behind that one, complete to Calvin Jackson Jr. And that's a 1st down for Washington State. So now can Washington State put it away is the question. They've been in this position, but they, unlike some games past, they've been able to extend the lead a little bit here. It was 13-6 at the half. Again, Cal scored on the first possession of the game. Washington State had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. We thought we were ready for a shootout.
Yeah, we really were. I was thinking that one team was going to have to score, you know, 40 plus points. But, you know, as much success as Washington State has had on offense, Even they've sputtered at times today.
Pressure coming from the secondary, and it creates a little bit of a problem for Borky, who gets back to the line of scrimmage. It was Daniel Scott sprinting in. He got picked up, but it opened up a spot for Trey Pastor to make the tackle.
Yeah, in my opinion, when Cal's defense has had success, they've been getting people into the backfield, and bringing more than 4 rushers has really done them good.
DeLaura with a punt. DeLaura with a heave, looking for Stribling, and he overshoots him. And look, there's still 9.5 to go. If Cal gets a stop, they get good field position, right? Still a 2-score game. The reason Cal has 6 is because they failed on a point after attempt on their touchdown.
Yeah, the game is definitely still in hand. I mean, they're definitely going to need a stop here, and like you said, use the field position. But the last couple of drives, Cal's offense has been in the red zone and came away with absolutely nothing. They need more consistent play from everybody that's been on the field today.
Borgy in there at running back, picks up the pressure, throws to Harris, and Harris gets stopped by Drayden and Iosefa after a pickup of about 6 yards. And so here comes the punt unit for Washington State. And Cal has a block already in this game, but it was a block that then got picked up by Ron Stone Jr. and converted for a first down. Nick Haberer, I mentioned the freshman from Australia, just 20 years old. He's the punter for Washington State. He attended his first football game in the spring. It was Idaho Eastern Washington. Kyle Krantz, the special teams coach for the Cougs, took him and started teaching him about the game. This one takes a good bounce. Jeremiah Hunter back there. He picks it up. Hunter in place of the injured Remigio. But on Nick Haberer, when he took over at Washington State, he asked, how many meters should I punt it? And I said, well, close. Take a look at our Ace Hardware game summary. Jaden DeLaura back from injury today, 22 of 37 for almost 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, a couple of picks. Brennan Jackson, just one of the many defensive players, has been a force. 2 sacks for Jackson today, the redshirt junior from Temecula, California. Chase Garbers and the Cal offense struggling to get things going. Have not scored since the first drive of the game, but still in this, a 2-score game with 8:43 to go. Their last drive got stopped, 4th and goal near the goal line, and now they're going to start with a trick play, but Garbers can't handle the toss back on the flea flicker, and it's a loss of 9 yards. Actually, check that. It's a loss of 11 yards.
When it rains, it pours. And right now it is pouring on this Berkeley offense. You know, we saw the stat line. It's not that Washington State's offense has just been playing lights out today. They have 3 touchdowns. If we're going to talk about units, the best unit that's touched this field today has been this Washington State defense.
So now they'll go back to the ground, where they've had some success today the last couple of drives in the second half. 4 yards a carry on the day overall.
Yeah, and he's earned it. You know,
Street.
Street has earned the right to be in the game right now. He's been the one little spark that Cal's offense has had in the second half, along with Trayvon Clark. But just not there today for this Cowboy offense.
And now with 3rd and 15. Pressure coming from Hicks. Garber's able to muscle out of it. Now he's going to pull it down and run. Garber's all the way to the stick, and he gets pulled down a yard past it, and Garber's picks it up. A first down for Cal.
First down for Cal. Fortunately, had to do it the hard way. Chase Garber's putting it on him, putting it on his shoulders, using his feet. God-given talent. Pick up 15 yards and a new set of downs. What did Jake Dicker tell us this week, the defensive coordinator for Washington State? He said, I still haven't seen Garbers get caught when he runs. Garbers almost sacked again and is able to get out of it and pick up 3 yards on the throw to Chris Street. That was an interesting throw. That was a little interesting play. But a great job by Chase Garbers to stay in the pocket, knowing he was going to get hit. Oof. Able to shed him, but stayed in instead of taking off and running. Pressure all day long. He's been sacked 3 times. Keeps it here.
Throws high, and Crawford brings it down. Keikoa Crawford inside the 40.
Was that intended for him? You know, great job, great catch. I'm glad he caught it instead of Jeremiah Hunter, because Jeremiah Hunter was blanketed by 2 Washington State Cougars. But climb the ladder, big man.
Does not have a catch today. But Crawford with that big one. The crowd was cheering as Washington State was racing a couple of players off the field in substitution, but they got him off. Here's Street feeling his way forward, and he picks up 5 yards. Again this week, Cal is without DeCarlos Brooks, the running back, so it's Dancy Moore, and now, as we've seen, Chris Street. Seven carries today for the sophomore back, who split out to the top. Stone coming on pressure, and he sacks Garbers. The 4th sack of the day for this Cougar defense. Welcome home, Ron Stone, to the Bay.
Relentless effort. Great motor, great use of the hands to shorten the edge. That was Braden Rome, the left tackle. But Ron Stone has been all over the place, creating pressure, converting 4th downs on a blocked punt.
That's right.
Washington State's defense has been the story today.
3rd down and long. More heat, setting up the screen, and it's batted away by Travion Brown. What an alert play.
An alert play by Brown to get a hand on it, because Washington State was bringing the pressure, and Cal had the perfect screen set up. If he doesn't knock that ball down, I believe Dancy's hitting his head on the goalpost.
Because everybody else was in the backfield.
Everybody else was in the backfield. He had about 4 blockers out there, and I think there was only 3 Washington State defenders with a chance to get close.
So now 4th down and 11. More pressure. Garbers. I don't know if he was behind the line of scrimmage. Flag comes out. The pass was complete to Damian Moore. For the moment, it's a big gain for Cal down into the red zone. But Garbers, the question is, was any part of his body still behind the line of scrimmage? If not, it's a turnover on downs. Well, actually, the result of the play was a big play, so Washington State would have to accept it.
It's going to be interesting. I wonder if they're going to take a closer look at it being 4th down, and really a pivotal play in the last chance that Cal has to stay in this game.
Illegal forward pass. Number 7 of the offense. Forward pass behind the line of scrimmage. This is a 5-yard penalty from the spot. Loss of down.
Oh, the
Ball
loss of
turns
down
over
is key there.
Washington State.
So it is turnover on down.
1st down.
Wow.
Timeout on the field.
So Washington State takes over after Cal cannot get anything going once again. At midfield, it'll be the Cougs ball. Connor Halliday had 5:21, and Washington State beat Cal 44-22. And the Cougs closing in on ending that drought. First meeting between these programs all the way back in 1919. This is the 71st all-time game between Cal and Washington State. And after taking over on downs, Washington State gets into Cal territory on the first play of the possession. Donovan Ali with that catch. Under 4.5 remaining here. Both teams with all 3 timeouts. And if this is how it holds, it will not be for lack of opportunity for Cal.
They've had all the opportunity, not just in this second half, but especially in the first half. Just unable to turn good field position into points. Unable to sustain drives. Weren't really able to get anything going, both on the ground or through the air. Chase Garbers under immense pressure for 4 quarters.
2:36 to go now. Deion McIntosh.
First time out of the half, California.
And Cal will take
Please
the timeout.
reset the game clock to 3 minutes, 50 seconds. 3-5-0.
It gives us an opportunity to talk about what Washington State as a program has been through in the last week. Of course, the Pac-12 family, the Utah family, all suffering from the tragic loss of Aaron Lowe last week, shot and killed in Salt Lake City after the Utah-Washington State game. But before that game, that morning, Brandon Gray, Washington State Cougar, was also shot in Pullman. He was not on the traveling party. Nick Rolovich told us he got the call at 2:30 that morning. It was one of the hardest things he's ever had to tell a team. They played that game fearing, of course, for their teammates' life. The good news that we're told is that Brandon Gray is improving. He's in stable condition. His family is with him at the hospital. And Nick Rolovich has been in very close contact with the family. In fact, we spoke to him a couple of days ago. He immediately got off the phone and had an in-person meeting with Brandon Gray's family. And so that situation improving there. And as that pass is broken up, obviously we're sending well wishes and a get well soon to Brandon. And you know, we asked Nick Rolovich, what did you expect from your team? He said, I didn't know what to expect from my team, given how scary that situation is. And he was very proud of the way the leaders on his team handled that. Obviously, first and foremost, just very happy that the Brandon Gray's doing better.
Yeah, absolutely. This Washington State team had to fight through it and play with heavy hearts last week. And last week I felt defensively was their best performance, causing a lot of turnovers. And it's definitely difficult when a brother goes down.
Flag down here. The result of the play is a first down to Donovan Ali, but we'll check on this flag. Elijah Hicks, the tackle.
Holding. 75 of the offense. With a 10-yard penalty from the foul. Still, third down.
One of the stories, I know the Cougs are on offense here, but defensively, 8 different Washington State players have contributed to a tackle for loss today.
They've been flying around. I think when you look at the matchups, when you look at the way that Washington State's defense is built versus the way Cal's offense is built, Washington State's 4-2-5 scheme with a lot of speed guys, a lot of fast physical players, constantly putting pressure on the quarterback, constantly playing downhill in the backfield, not only just in pass rush, but in the backfield, stopping runs.
First time out of the half, Washington State. Only 30 seconds in duration.
Cougs take a timeout. And so now the question is, what could come next, right? Washington State, stability at quarterback. Now with Delora healthy, right? They've been all over the place. 4 different quarterbacks, including him, had played. Coming into play today, Jared Garantano, who started last week, was not available today. But on the schedule, 3 straight home games on the Palouse for Washington State. They'll get Oregon State next week, coming off of what will be a big game tonight on the Pac-12 Network with Washington. Then they'll play Stanford at home, and then they'll play BYU at home. So, the question for the Cougs, are they getting things right just before? And I know they felt like they found something last week on defense.
Yes.
And now paired with this offense, can this team compete in the Pac the rest of the season?
If the defense for the Cougars continues at this clip, turning the ball over, disrupting offenses primarily in the backfield, then it's going to give this team a chance to win. Delora's not perfect. We know that. There's plenty of things that he can get better at, but he's such an athletic talent. And just the way the team supports him and gets behind him and the confidence this offense plays when he's in the game, I think gives them the best chance of being successful moving forward.
Deion McIntosh runs out of bounds there on 3rd down. So 3:32 on the clock. Cameron Good, they're part of the pursuit. And now Cal will take a timeout. And they'll have 1 remaining.
Second charge time out of the half, California. Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 3-3-0. Thank you.
But this defense, you know, we spent a lot of time, rightfully so, historically talking about this Cal defense, and this year it is out of the norm, right, for what we're used to seeing. Although 21 points, you know, you think you roll out and you hold a team to 21 points, you got a chance to win that day. This has been more about its offense today, but for Washington State, I mean, we really enjoyed talking to Jake Dicker, the defensive coordinator for the Cougs, and they look like they really got something cooking on that side of the football. So now Haberer to punt away.
Yeah, one thing Jake Dicker said was, you know, this game right now is only the 9th game that this coaching staff and this defensive staff has had with these players. So, you know, the secondary's been a work in progress. The D-line is a continuing work in progress. You lean on your veteran inside linebackers and your veteran safety and ISO. And you put those guys in position to make plays, and hopefully everybody else jumps on board. And they have the speed, that's for sure. I think I've said that at least 50 times today, just talking about the speed of the Washington State defense, and just they finish through the ball and they create turnovers, and it's enough disruption to give yourself a chance each and every Saturday.
Special teams coach Kyle Kranz, they're happy with the job his squad has done today. Don't forget, coming up next at 6 o'clock here on the Pac-12 Network, Washington and Oregon State. Dylan Morris, 5 touchdown passes in the last 2 games. B.J. Baylor, second in all of college football, the FBS level, with 7 rushing touchdowns. The Huskies have won 9 straight. Cal takes over here, 3:23 to go, and flags fly. And we'll check on this penalty, but what do you think of that matchup? Oregon State and Washington coming up next.
False start. 63 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty to still first down.
It's going to be interesting. You've asked me, I think, 3 times off mic who I think is going to win the game. You chose Oregon State.
Yep.
You know, I really think that what UW did last week, I think they could build on that. An emotional overtime win, but it's not going to be easy. B.J. Baylor and that Oregon State team really got things going in a big way last week. I was extremely impressed with the way B.J. Baylor ran the football last week against USC, and I like what Jonathan Smith is doing up there, Corvallis. You know, they're a sound football team. What they lack in talent on paper, they make up for in discipline and fundamentals.
Oregon State, how about this? Oregon State has scored 40 points or more in 3 straight games. They haven't done that in
It's impressive.
8 years.
Yeah.
You know, so their offense is rolling, and their defense, if you go look at their defense under Tim Tibesar, since Jonathan Smith got there, it was, you know, 119th, 120th, whatever it was. But it has just got incrementally better, incrementally better, incrementally better. And now maybe playing with a little more confidence.
Confidence is huge. I always say what's between the ears is 90%. The athletic ability is always there if you're playing college football.
Well, and that will be part of this bye week coming up for Cal, is trying to get that back, because this offense seemed like it had a lot of it coming into today.
You know, and it's going to be tough. Some tough practices ahead for this Cal team, especially on offense. Probably a little bit on defense too, but now you got 2 weeks, you got 13 days till your next game. I'm sure Coach Wilcox and his staff are going to have, you know, quite the drills lined up for you, especially with a week off next week.
Well, this is it right here. Can they convert and keep hope alive today for Cal? Players running on and off the field, and so Washington State, for this big 4th and 4, decides to use
Second
the
charge,
timeout. 1 left.
Washington State, with 30 seconds in the patient.
Here's what's coming up. Justin Wilcox wanted him to snap that ball. Here's what's coming up for Cal. They'll go to Oregon. Both Oregon and Cal are going to be coming off byes. At the moment, Kayvon Thibodeau, we mentioned, was disqualified from the end of that Stanford game, which Oregon lost today to Stanford. And so that would mean he would miss the first half of the Cal game. Then Colorado and Oregon State back here before visiting Arizona to start November.
What Cal is facing going forward.
Please reset the game clock. 2 minutes, 17 seconds. 2, 1, 7.
And based off of the team that that we have seen here today versus the Cal team that we saw last week at UW, you and I called that game as well. I mean, it's not even close to what we saw last week. The competitive drive, the competitive spirit, the enthusiasm that Cal showed on the field last week, both offensively and defensively, just hasn't transitioned to this week.
They need this. Yeah, they've got any hope of pulling a thriller here near the end. Garber's pressured again, and that's been the story of the day.
Really has pressure in his face. Feet never really settle.
Possession change them around down. First down in Washington State.
Anxious feet in the pocket. Not able to really throw off his back foot. It's a sidearm throw. It just hasn't been there. And they're going to go back and look at the tape, and this is going to be a tough pill for this Cal team to swallow, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because they were really each week getting better and better and better.
Jaden DeLaura and Washington State certainly in desperate need of getting the result. They were closer last week, they felt like. They flew into Berkeley yesterday. Their plane landed on the wrong tarmac. It had to go back into the air and then re-land on the correct tarmac. And you thought, well, is that a bad sign? The answer to that is no. It was not a sign at all.
Minor inconvenience.
That's right. Calvin Jackson Jr. He had a heck of a game today, especially early. A couple of catches, 2 touchdowns, a highlight reel catch from him. Cal takes a timeout. The Bears have no timeouts left. With 2:06 to go.
And this Washington State offense has really, I think they found something in Stribling as well. You mentioned Calvin Jackson and Travell Harris, but I think Stribling gives them a legit outside threat. Bigger body, but he meshes well with both Harris and Jackson.
Who combined today, Harris and Jackson, for 13 catches.
And there's the 3 of them bunched up at the top of your screen.
Harris at the top, Stribling in the middle, Jackson in the slot. DeLaura taking his time, and he gives it to Max Borghi. Borghi, who just accelerates for the first down inside the 10. And when the clock starts back up again, we'll be under 2 minutes.
There was no hesitation on that run.
No, there wasn't.
He had his mind made up as soon as he bounced that ball outside. I'm getting downhill.
Washington State, they're going to have what they've been desperately seeking, right, which is a happy post game. They felt so close. Cal's been in the same boat. Cal's had 3 losses by 7 points or less coming into this game. This game does not fall into that category. And for Washington State, a testament to perseverance, no doubt, this week. Nick Rolovich, the first time he's coached as a head coach this close to home, 30 miles away from Novato, where he grew up. Played his junior college football at City College of San Francisco, where he was an All-American quarterback before going to Hawaii. And he told us this week, I can feel that our team thinks they're getting closer. They know they're getting closer. And that message was correct. That's pretty clear to see here today.
Now, I think it was a contrast of 2, 1, and 3 teams. One team that believed that they were getting closer, and one team maybe looking in the rearview mirror at the missed opportunities. And you know, speaking the former being Cal, you know, you're coming off an emotional loss on the road in Seattle, a game that they felt they could have won, and just didn't have it today. And hats off to the Cougs. 1-3 start. Now they are 2-3, not allowing what's happened in the past to affect what's going to happen to them moving forward. And wasn't the prettiest performance for either team by a long shot, but You'd rather take an ugly win than a pretty loss any day.
Washington State wins here in Berkeley for the first time since 2013, and they hold Cal to under 7 points for the first time since 1997. And Justin Wilcox and his team now head into the bye with a bit of frustration. Washington State with the 21-6 win. Jaden Delora returned to the lineup, threw 3 touchdowns. Deion McIntosh ran for 59 yards. The story is Washington State defense, 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, holding Cal to 6 points on the day. For our entire crew, Shane Vereen, Mark Shaw, Mike Hansen, this is Guy Haberman saying stay tuned. Still a bunch of football coming up. Send you back to San Francisco for the Pac-12 game break with Kyle Draper, Nigel Burton, and Stevenson Sylvester.